I grew up in the 50s and 60s with television westerns. You know, The Big Valley, you know, Maverick, Sugarfoot, Cheyenne, all those great television westerns, which were the morality plays of my generation. One of the lessons I learned was that the good guys own guns, and so did the bad guys. But whereas the bad guys used their guns to frighten and intimidate people and hurt people, the good guys used their guns to protect the innocent and to keep order in the towns. And I mean, today really isn't so different.
Sandy Froman has long had an appreciation for the good guys and girls with guns.
I'm Sandy Froman, and I'm proud to say that I'm part of the American gun culture.
Her illustrious career has established her as not just part of the American gun culture, but as an integral thread in the fabric of firearms history. Her accomplishments are many and major. Past president of the National Rifle Association, first woman president of the NRA Foundation's Board of Trustees, creator of NRA's Refuse to Be a Victim program, developer of the hunting component of NRA's Women on Target initiative, past president of the National 4-H Shooting Sports Foundation, and an NRA Life member and benefactor member, to name but a few. So it may come as somewhat of a surprise to learn that Sandy, the woman who never met a gun she didn't like, was 32 years old before she ever picked up a firearm.
I grew up in the San Francisco Bay Area, which is not exactly the center of the gun culture in America, and I'd never shot a gun. I went to school, none of my friends owned guns, their parents didn't own guns, my dad wasn't a hunter or shooter, so I had really nothing to do with guns when I was growing up.
Sandy attended Stanford University and Harvard Law School, joining a law firm in Los Angeles upon graduation. It was during this time, while living alone in Hollywood Hills, that Sandy's life took an unexpected detour.
It was 3 o'clock in the morning when a sound at my front door woke me up. I crept downstairs in the dark and I stood on my tiptoes to look through the peephole in my front door. There was a man outside with a screwdriver in the lock on my front door trying to break in. So I banged on the door from the inside and I shouted at him through the door. I looked through the peephole again, hoping to catch a glimpse of this man running away. Instead, I was shocked to see him straighten up, look through the peephole back at me, and bend down and start working on the lock again. I felt a chill run through me as he leaned back down and continued to work on the lock. So I dialed 911 and quickly explained the situation. She said, "Lock yourself in your bedroom, we're on the way." I was stunned for a minute, and all I could think to say back to her was, "Well, my bedroom door doesn't have a lock on it." So I got off the phone and I decided to take charge. I turned on all the lights in the house. I turned on my stereo full blast. I opened the windows on the second story, trying to get as much noise and as light going on as possible. But when I ran downstairs to look again, he was still there. I had no idea what to do. I am 5'2", and I would have no chance against a man like the man who was on the other side of the door. Then all of a sudden, the noise on the other side of the door stopped. And I crept down to the door and I looked outside and he was gone. Evidently, he couldn't get through the lock on my door. Finally, the police arrived. I swore that I would never let anything like this happen again. The next day, I was a woman on a mission. I went to a local gun store.
Not only did she buy a Colt M1911, she learned how to use it. Between safety classes and regular range practice, Sandy found out she was quite a good shot. And in no time, she went from being afraid to being prepared.
Been waiting ever since for that man to show up at my door again.
While her Colt provided peace of mind, Sandy soon realized that as a gun owner, she could not be politically passive. So she joined the one organization whose sole mission was to protect her precious gun rights. As a proud member of the NRA, Sandy quickly got busy in grassroots activism.
A lot of people ask me, what is the NRA doing to help us in our city? And I ask them, what are you doing? What are you doing to help yourself? What are you doing to promote gun owners, gun rights? What are you doing to talk to your local elected officials about the importance of the Second Amendment and the right to keep and bear arms? What are you doing to get involved in national politics at the local level and work your way up? What are you doing to inform yourself of the issues of the day? What are you doing to help tie bonds with law enforcement so that they understand that gun owners are there to help them? Those are questions that need to be asked by every NRA member.
In 1991, she was asked by a friend to give a speech at an Arizona rally at the state capitol in Phoenix. She fired up the crowd with a rousing message, after which a man in the audience approached her.
And he said, "Have you ever thought about running for the NRA Board of Directors?" And I said, "No." And he said, "Well, I think you should run and I'll sponsor you." And that man turned out to be Bob Corbin, who was just about to become president of the National Rifle Association.
Not only did she run, Sandy Froman was elected to the board with the highest number of votes nationally of anyone running that year. From 2000 to 2004, she served as vice president to Charlton Heston's president. In 2005, she was elected as only the second female president in NRA's history.
You have to come into your presidency really knowing what you want to accomplish because you have a very short amount of time to do it. And there are lots of NRA resources that are being kind of mustered for other causes as well. So I knew that we had a lot of work to do at the NRA.
For Sandy, that work included helping NRA become a more powerful fundraising organization, raising awareness for the importance of elections in regards to judicial appointments, and the development of initiatives designed specifically for women.
NRA will be promoting and expanding major initiatives that will help all Americans, and especially women, have access to programs to teach them how to safely and responsibly purchase, own, learn to use, and store firearms. Self-defense is the most precious right we have. We had a legislator who was my state senator who was really squishy on the issue. And I would go to every meeting that I could find where she was going to speak. And I would just target her. I'd see her across the room. It could be a room as big as this. And I would just head there. I'd make a beeline to go talk to her and tell her, "Senator, concealed carry is really important to me as a woman, as an American, as a law-abiding, peaceable gun owner, and I want you to vote for it." And she'd like avoid me. You know, if she saw me coming, she'd head out the door. And finally, I remember after doing this for months and months and months, I saw her across the room at another political event, and I started headed towards her, and she went like this. She said, "Stop! I'm gonna vote for it." Such legislation enables even the most petite young woman or a kindly grandmother to be every bit as secure on a city street at night as a big strapping man who knows how to handle himself. Every woman is entitled to such security.
Following her 2-year term as president, Sandy has remained active in the NRA and in furthering women's initiatives. With a growing number of females joining the ranks of gun owners, she stresses the importance of women's participation.
Good job!
I think that it's really important that the NRA, that we get the message out to women that they are welcome, that we need them, that we want them, that there is a place for them, and that we have programs for them, and that it's important for them to be members and for them to protect our constitutional rights as well. I mean, they have an obligation to their kids, to their children and to their grandchildren to keep the legacy of freedom alive in America.
Today, Sandy continues to practice law in Arizona. She serves on the NRA Board of Directors. She indulges her creative side in a newfound hobby of chainmail jewelry making.
I had to drop something off for the office, and I walked into the store. It was a new store, and they had just started this class. So I sat down and I took the class, and boy, from then I was hooked.
Through it all, still, she shoots.
I shoot handguns, pistols, and revolvers. I shoot shotguns. I shot skeet and trap and sporting clays. I love shooting rifle. And I learned to hunt. I learned to hunt through an NRA friend, and now I've been hunting in, I think, 3 continents and 20 states. It's a great sport. It's a lifelong sport. It's something that you can do no matter what age you are, no matter what your other interests are.
This 5'2" dynamo stands tall in America's fight for firearm freedoms and Second Amendment rights.
I am often asked how a Jewish woman, a native of San Francisco, and a graduate of Stanford University and Harvard Law became president of the NRA. In other words, what's a nice girl like you doing involved with guns?
Aren't we all glad she did get involved with guns? Thank you, Sandy, for your unwavering dedication to a cause that's near and dear to all of our hearts.
I'm an NRA woman. Come join us.